want you to know that like this is not looking super rosy at the moment. And we need to on the weekly, sorry, on the monthly RSI alone here. I want to see us come down and bounce off this region, and you can see I have an alert RSI, the RSSI actually. That's a typo. 1 month buy. If we come down on this, we'll be looking for things to sort of revert back. And we've talked about the MACD getting a bit overextended. So, look, um, pay attention. The next 6 months are going to be interesting, and we have to be on our toes. And Rick, I'm going to take your advice. I hear you. Yeah, it's one of my favorite sayings is the road called someday leads to a town called nowhere. Do it now. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so let's see what else. Let's get through everything else. We actually have a lot to cover coming up on the hour, and I think that was how many of you got a lot out of that? I think that was valuable, rather than going into the micro. Sometimes we'll go deep in the micro things, but and we're going to touch on that now. But I really think that's important to understand where we are with everything and what's likely going to happen next. And by the way, when we're below the EMA ribbon, otherwise known as the bull market support band. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Rick. Good. Yeah, it's good feedback. I just want to make sure the rest of you were bored out of your mind right there. But no, I'd go back and watch that. And if you ever want to go back and watch these on the replays, for God's sakes, use it at 1.5x speed, 1 3/4 speed. Your brain can absorb it a lot faster than I can spew it out to you. 2x speed may be a bit fast. Sometimes I'll do that. But I want to do market support band. And this is similar to the EMA ribbon. Let me clean up the charts a little bit. We're sandwiched between the buy block detector. I didn't want to check the Bollinger Bands real quick. Oh, look at that. Bollinger Band's tightening. There's a big move coming, you guys. We'll come back to that. All right. Wait a minute. I'm going click trigger happy here. EMA ribbon off. Well, here's the relationship with the EMA ribbon and the support band. Actually, there is none. Never mind. Darn it! I keep turning that thing off. I want the bull market support band. So on this, generally on a weekly time frame, this is really important because if we start to close below the bull market support band, generally it's like quicksand, and it's 6 to 8 weeks. The bull market support band held here. We lost it there a year ago. A couple weeks retested it, but really it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these are just two moving averages. So you don't need to get in the weeds about what it's all about. But going back to the last cycle, it is fairly telling. A nice bull rally will ride the bull market support band. Okay, and then boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 below it. So it's like it catches the flu there. Pushed up to the high, stuck in the middle, when below the bull market support band, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like 12 weeks. Briefly got above it, and then boom, bear market. So we want to be cognizant of that and keep an eye on that. So actually, I think I can set an alert on that. So let's do that. Add alert. No, that's going to do it as an EMA. And essentially, the bull market support band is partially that 21 period. Crossing down. Yeah, so crossing down the bull market support band on the total market cap. I thought I was on Bitcoin, forgive me, but it's mostly the same. And so I'll create that. Let's go to Bitcoin just to make it more tangible. Same thing, same chart. But I'm going to set an alert on that also. And they will both go off at the exact same time. But we'll do it anyway. But make sure on the condition, it's not just the EMA, although they're fairly... All right, I feel like I have to explain it now. The bull market support band, for those curious, is a 21-week EMA in green, which is our 21. That's why it's confusing. Normally our 50 period is green. So don't look at the colors, look at the band. It's a 20-week SMA over a 21-week EMA. Don't worry about that. It's this area in between. So that's why if I do an alert on the, you want to do it, it's to say the condition is the bull market support band here, and we want to say crossing down, and that would be 80,000. Wait a minute. That isn't right. Where do they get 80,000? I think that the value is off there because I don't know. That seems don't let's not use that. That's wrong. So what can we do? Instead of that, let's look at this instead, the 21. This is where we're going in the weeds here. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know why they have that set at that. That's so let's use the EMA at 88,000 because always like double check these things and say, is that right? See, that's when you know you've arrived as a trader when you're calling out errors in the indicators that are being used. And like, wait a minute, that's not right. So crossing down the EMA, the 21-week EMA, and I'm just going to do that and not blabber on about these things. And it's going to be on a closing basis. Anyway, I always use closing basis because otherwise, and I'm going to show an example which I pointed out in the chat earlier of something that would be bullish on Phantom Coin, but unless it sells off end of day, which it has been known to do, and puts in a red closing candle. All right, sorry for that little diversion, you guys. Let's get back to business here, and I have EMA ribbon on here twice, so I'll clean out my indicators. Let's go back to the 4-hour, by the way. I forgot to mention what I'd like to use on that, Rick, by the way, is the dynamic ATR. And if you guys don't have the indicators, by the way, make sure go over to cryptomastery.org and get signed up. If you absolutely just need a free trial, let me know. There is a free trial on that, but you're going to wind up buying the annual because it's a better deal in the lifetime, and you need these. Trust me. And so what we're looking for here also on this, and even though the ATR can swing back and forth in a trend, at the trend pivot point, it can be really helpful when it goes entry. So look for the entry pivots at support or in buy blocks because it can be, I'm not saying it always is, it can be, what did I do there? It can be a early trigger confirmation that things are going to go higher. November 2024. It was sort of chopping around a bit, but even back in October 2024, October seems to be a great month for buying. Unless we're in the market to fourth year of the cycle. But we'll see. Entry here, shot up, sideways, sideways, sideways. Entry point here. And if you have confluence, we didn't really have a lot of confluence here on the 4-hour. But if we use this with our daily, weekly, also, this would have been a great trigger. Why? Back above the 21 and 50 period EMA, when entry on the dynamic average true range. Some people also use that. Sorry, I had another meeting pop up, but I don't need to be on that. The entry point above the 50 period EMA, bullish. So to ride that all the way up. And so anyway, hopefully that makes sense. That's back to the 4-hour. I know this is a lot, but the more time you hear it, trust me, you're gonna start to learn it. And Bitcoin's back in the green today. So let's jump around. I think we've covered Bitcoin ad nauseum, but it's the North Star. We are getting a bit of a bullish bounce here on this. Bullish, we have bullish divergence now. Oops. On the RSI Pro. Sorry, I'm trying to squeeze in the middle of this thing. These have been excellent for us, you guys, especially when we get 2 in a row. And the other nuance here is the RSIs are crossing. So this is an early signal that we could be heading higher. We want to wait for more confluence. Oh, interesting. Coinbase launches CFTC regulated Sol futures. CFTC. Yeah, I'm sorry. I paused there on that because that was the market top when Bitcoin launched those. We want a spot ETF. Coinbase launches CFTC regulated Sol futures. When the first Bitcoin futures thing came out, that was the market top. So that's not that good. Anyway, let's get back. But this is bullish. So again, we're looking at our checklist to check off. I feel like I'm preaching to you guys, so I'm going to stop kind of taking that tone with you and just kind of keep saying it. And the more you hear it, you'll start to do it. And hopefully your spouses will say, honey, you were talking about the ERI and the TSI in your sleep again last night. That's when my goal will be achieved and my life purpose fulfilled. All right, I have to have a little fun with this, you guys. All right, so starting to see that if we close up in here and we start pushing up here, I'm above 98K. Hey, look, I might change my tune, but as of now, we're still below the ice. And just imagine a little head. Imagine your body on the candle, and imagine this to be the ice. Until you get your head firmly above and you're standing on the ice, you're not safe. That analogy keeps getting better and better. I thought it was kind of silly at first, but I like the ice analogy is a good one. All right. Total market cap we covered, and potentially a descending bullish wedge pattern. It's a bit janky, but we have to see. Like, if I'm really curious to see when we break above 3.8 trillion, eventually someday. If it's out of this bull flag, it still projects us at about 5 trillion. So roughly, not quite doubling. I don't think we'll go to 6 necessarily. There's a couple ways I had drawn this where if that were goes to 6, but I don't think so. I think we have to really temper our expectations until and unless we see quantitative easing, interest rates dropping, money pumping, money printing, liquidity, global liquidity. All of those things have to be in place for these markets really to take off. It doesn't matter how many sovereign wealth funds, doesn't matter how many oil fields in Dubai and Saudi. All of this, it's not enough. They need to really start the global liquidity to get this thing rolling again. Hey, this is Brett from Moonstream. If you'd like to learn more about our pro trading signals or our live classes every Wednesday or our Retire Rich program, go over to moonstream.io/start.